Story 1. The Last Passenger, an urban legend from Mexico and the U.S. This tale has been whispered among taxi drivers and late-night travelers for decades, a chilling reminder of the unknown that lurks in the shadows of our everyday lives. A taxi driver, weary from a long night of work, picks up a woman late at night on a deserted road. She appears out of nowhere, her figure barely illuminated by the dim streetlights. Her face is pale, her eyes distant, as if she's lost in another world. The driver hesitates for a moment but decides to offer her a ride, thinking she might be in trouble. She asks to be dropped off at a house deep in a neighborhood. The driver, curious yet cautious, follows her directions. The streets grow narrower and darker as they drive further into the neighborhood. The houses seem to loom over them, their windows like empty eyes watching their every move. The woman remains silent, her gaze fixed on the road ahead. When they arrive, the driver turns around to tell her they've reached the destination, but she's gone. The back seat is empty, as if she was never there. Panic sets in as he frantically looks around, but there's no trace of her. The only thing left is an eerie silence that fills the car. Only a faint, cold mist remains in the back seat. The mist swirls slowly, almost as if it's alive, sending chills down the driver's spine. He can feel the temperature drop, the air growing colder and heavier. It's as if the very essence of the woman lingers in the car, a ghostly reminder of her presence. Confused and terrified, he knocks on the door of the house. His heart pounds in his chest as he waits for someone to answer. The house looks old and worn, its paint peeling and windows dark. He wonders if he's made a mistake, if this is all some kind of bizarre dream. An old woman answers and sighs. Her face is lined with age and sorrow, her eyes filled with a deep sadness. She seems to know why he's there, as if she's been expecting this visit. The driver stammers, trying to explain what happened, but she raises a hand to stop him. She was my daughter. She died 10 years ago, and she keeps coming home. The old woman's voice trembles with emotion as she speaks. She tells the driver about her daughter, how she died tragically in a car accident on that very road. Since then, her spirit has been trying to return home, seeking the comfort and familiarity of the place she once knew. The driver listens in stunned silence, realizing he's just encountered something beyond the realm of the living. The old woman thanks him for bringing her daughter home, even if just for a moment, and closes the door, leaving the driver to ponder the mysteries of the night. Story 2. The Whispers in the Walls, a psychological horror with a suspenseful twist. A couple moves into an old apartment and begins hearing whispers at night. They check the vents, the walls, but nothing explains the sound. One night, the whispers become clear. They're watching. Desperate, they tear open the wall. Inside, they find hundreds of old cameras, and some are still recording. Story 3. La Llorona's Call. Rooted in Mexican folklore and supernatural horror, this tale has been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires and shared in hushed tones. It is a story that sends shivers down the spine and makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is a ghostly figure who is said to roam near bodies of water, crying out for her lost children. Her mournful wails are a warning to those who hear them, a sign that danger is near. A group of teenagers, eager for adventure, decide to go camping near a river known for its eerie reputation. They set up their tents and gather around a campfire, sharing stories and laughing, unaware of the chilling experience that awaits them. The river, shrouded in mist, seems to whisper secrets of its own, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. As night falls, the group hears a sound that sends a chill down their spines. It is the unmistakable cry of a woman filled with sorrow and despair. "Mis hijos, ¿dónde están?" she wails, her voice echoing through the night. The teenagers exchange nervous glances, trying to convince themselves that it is just a prank or a figment of their imagination. They laugh it off, trying to shake off the fear that has settled over them. But the laughter dies in their throats when one of their friends stands up, his eyes glazed over. and begins to walk towards the river as if in a trance. The others call out to him, but he does not respond, his steps steady and unyielding. Panic sets in as they realize something is terribly wrong. They rush to grab him, pulling him back just in time before he reaches the water's edge. His eyes clear, and he looks around in confusion, unaware of what just happened. The group huddles together, fear gripping their hearts as they try to make sense of the night's events. The next morning, as the first light of dawn breaks through the mist, they make a chilling discovery. Wet footprints, as if made by bare feet, lead from the river to their tent. The prints are fresh, the water still glistening in the early morning light. They follow the trail, their hearts pounding in their chests. But it ends abruptly, with no sign of anyone else around. The campsite is eerily silent, the only sound the gentle lapping of the river against the shore. They pack up quickly, eager to leave the haunted place behind. As they drive away, the image of the wet footprints and the haunting cry of La Llorona linger in their minds, a reminder of the night they will never forget. The legend of La Llorona is more than just a story. It is a warning, a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. Story 4. The Reflection That Wasn't Mine. A woman named Emily notices something strange about her reflection. It lags behind her movements. At first, she thinks it's just her imagination or a trick of the light. She waves her hand slowly, and the reflection follows, but with a noticeable delay. She frowns, and the reflection frowns back, but always a second too late. Days go by, and Emily tries to ignore the oddity. She tells herself it's nothing to worry about, but one day, as she stands in front of the mirror brushing her hair, she notices something that sends chills down her spine. Her reflection smiles at her, even though her own face remains serious. She drops the brush in shock, her heart pounding in her chest. Terrified, Emily decides to cover all the mirrors in her house. She can't bear to look at them anymore, afraid of what she might see. She drapes cloths over every reflective surface, turning her home into a place devoid of reflections. But the unease doesn't leave her. She feels watched, even though she can't see the eyes that might be watching. That night, Emily wakes up to a whisper that seems to come from nowhere. "Why did you hide me?" The voice is soft, almost gentle, but it fills her with dread. She sits up in bed, her eyes wide with fear, scanning the dark room for the source of the voice. Her heart races as she realizes the voice sounded eerily familiar, like her own, but not quite. She looks up and sees herself standing at the foot of the bed. The figure is shrouded in dim light, but there's no mistaking the face. It's her, but with a twisted, malevolent smile. Emily's breath catches in her throat as she stares at the doppelganger. The figure tilts its head, mirroring her own movements, but with a sinister grace. "You can't hide from me," it whispers, and Emily realizes with horror that the reflection has come to life. Story 5. The Unknown Caller. A man keeps receiving calls from an unknown number. When he picks up, it's just heavy breathing. He blocks it, but new numbers keep calling, each one getting closer to his area code. One night, his phone rings again. The caller ID says, "Inside your house." He turns around and the screen cuts to black. These are just stories. Or are they? If you ever hear whispers, see something strange in the mirror, or get a call from nowhere, don't ignore it. You might not be alone.